Okay, there we are. We should be live now. Welcome, everybody. For those of you who are joining in, I apologize for this being in the middle of the Guild War, but unfortunately, I won't have time to do this any later in the week, unless it's late at night, like after 9 p.m. my time. So it's currently just about 1 o'clock, 1:05 right now. So it wouldn't be for another 8 hours during the week. I'm just too busy with work and everything else, so I just wouldn't have the time to do it otherwise. So I'm just going to wait as usual for that number right there to show something other than 0, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So hope everyone's doing well otherwise. Being locked in and locked down like a lot of people are right now. I've been home for the most part, with the exception of going out to the store for whatever, for about almost 4 weeks now, because I just coincidentally ended up working from home for the week prior to everything kind of going crazy. And so I've been home basically, other than just going to the store for necessities. I haven't really left the house in like almost a month. So I'm going a little stir crazy myself. But, it is what it is. Better safe than sorry. All right, we now have numbers. Sorry, I was looking at my chats over here in my other window. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started now that we have more than 0. It's just 3 right now, but it's probably going to be low viewers this time around, just simply because it's happening, during the Guild War, and a lot of people are busy with that. So we'll go ahead and get started off with bosses. So this is the start of Water Month, so this is for May. First things first, we have a boss here. Whoops, did not mean to make it big size. Maximized. Okay, so this is a new boss. Looking at it, probably water air, judging by the colors and the look and feel of it. It looks like it's a female sort of shape with some like dragon wings, or not sure what those are. It could even be like fairy wings. So that's the first boss. That's the second boss. That is a reused boss. We've seen that one before. Actually, I think twice now. So this is the third iteration of that boss. So that one right there, that's the third iteration. Looks like water fire this time. So image 2 is boss 1, and image 3 is boss 2. And again, that's not a guarantee of the order, just the way I number them. So that's the boss. It looks like it's new. It might be kind of a restyled boss from the past. It does kind of look familiar in some ways, but it's not the same, at least, anyway. So there's our bosses. And let me open up my chat window here. Audio not working? Anyone else having issues with audio? Not sure if anyone else can hear me or not. Hang on, sorry. Got a window popping up there. People asking me questions. Yep, that's me. Sorry. Just somebody was asking me if that's me. Hey, Redstone, how's it going? Okay, good. All right. Yeah, audio sometimes is a little bit weird at first when the stream first starts, but then it usually catches up. So if you're still having issues with audio, it might just be your connection. If you can't hear anything at all, then that's a problem, but Luke is saying it seems fine for him, and Joanna said it's lagging a bit, but seems better now. If anyone's having the same kinds of issues, like video or audio lagging, but hopefully that's not the case. I'm showing that I have levels on my stream, my OBS. It's showing I have audio, so. Welcome also, Gax. Sorry, I didn't see you catch up. I didn't see you in there, so I'm catching up on the chat. Okay. Hopefully everyone can still hear me, or can hear me, I should say, because some people say they can't. Might just be my network being a little bit slow-ish, because I know with everyone being at home the last few weeks, my internet's been utilized a lot more than it has been in the past. So closed and opened a couple of times now. Huh? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It's working for some people, but not for others. It could just be the internet kind of being more saturated for some people more than others. I'll move my microphone a bit closer to my face. Maybe that'll help. All right, so blips of sound for a split second here and there. Huh, weird. I don't know. That's strange. I'm showing that my computer's not even the slightest bit busy as far as like processing power or whatever, so huh, okay. Well, hopefully it picks up better for everyone as we go. All right, so moving on, we have our armors. So we're going to start off with going through the armors here. There's that boss I was just talking about. That's the reskin. It was trying to think if it was like an ITZ armor, ITZZ. I can't remember what it was, but this was recently used, like within the last year and a half or so, as a raid boss armor. So that's our first raid boss armor, water fire, as expected. Water fire and water air. That's number 1, and I'm pretty sure that's male. Looks male. Moving on, there's another. That's a reskin as well. This is the originally was earth water, I think. I can't think of the name, but it was originally earth and water. It doesn't look really that different from before. It just has more of a fire look to it now with water instead of earth. So it's water fire as well. So there's armor number 2. Water fire also, and I'm pretty sure that's male. Actually, that could be female. Looking at that waist, that actually could be female. The blips hurt. Sorry. I don't know that I can do much about it at this point. Okay, hang on. This is a hard one to tell. I can't tell for sure on this. That looks more narrow in the waist than this one does. Yeah, this is male. Okay, wasn't sure. It's always good to double check, because I'm never quite sure every time. Pretty sure I got the right one there. Yeah, I did. Okay. And that's the female of that very first one. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it might just be the frame rate. It could be, because I did adjust my settings for my stream settings a couple live streams back, and it's been pretty consistent since then. But it could be that since everyone's internet's kind of bogged down at this moment because everybody's at home for the most part, it could just be latency or lag, something along those lines. Yeah, you might have to adjust the your frame rate down to 360 or 480 to get it to be more consistent, I guess. So, hey Harlequin, welcome. Harlequin, welcome. Sorry, brain cramp. Yeah, can be a little strange. All right, moving on. Here we go. So, this one, I think there's a total of 3 reskins this month, and there are 10 total armors. I've glanced through this already once, but this one is another reskin. This one I think was... This one was actually never used, I think. This one was a fire spirit originally, I think, but it was never actually used. Worst Wolf, what they're talking about is you go down to the gear icon and change it to 360p or 480p instead of this 720, or I think I'm broadcasting 720. My computer can't do 1080, sadly, even though my webcam can. My computer can't handle that well. But they're saying to go down to the gear icon and change your frame rate down to 360 or 480, and it should work. All right, so this one, like I said, this was, I think, a fusion armor. This is all water season, yeah. This is a fusion armor. It was Fire Spirit, I think, or Spirit Fire, whatever. But now it's being reskinned as Water Spirit. So this is armor number 3. And that is male, pretty sure. And here's one of the new ones. This is also Water Spirit, and this head's kind of cool looking, I think. It's got kind of these cool little like frilly things and like stuff coming off the head. It's kind of cool looking. So that's a Water Spirit number 2. Armor 4, Water Spirit. I'm pretty sure that's male also. And there's a step down from Ascension male of the first one. Makes it easy. And there's the very next one, which is female. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Oh yeah, it's now showing you're following me, Worst Wolf. Even though you've been on the stream for a while now. Gotta love those delays. Thanks, Twitch. So here is our Water exclusive. So for those of you who are watching just for that, you've now seen it. I haven't assembled it, of course, but that's what it looks like. So there's the head. There's the shield and the weapon and everything else. So that's the dual water right there. So there's our dual water. That's the male. 5. And that's another new one. This one is water earth. It's I believe the only water earth in the files. Yeah, it is the only water earth in the files. I kind of made myself some notes. This one is going to be a seasonal, therefore, because it's the water earth, and that's one of the seasonal options. So this one is an entirely new armor. It doesn't look really similar to me to any other armors. So, yep, that's the water earth. So armor 6, I believe. Yeah, water earth male. And there's another water fire. This is also a new one. I like the look of these armors, to be honest. I like the look of a lot of them because, with the exception of the first 3, I think, they're all new. They're all entirely new designs. So there's 10 armors and only 3 of them are reskins, which is pretty cool. All right, so there's armor number 7, water fire, and that one is, I think, female, based on the waist size. There's a step down from Ascension. Is it Gold? It's the same season as Goldthorn Stinger, the spirit, Earth Spirit. So this was originally Earth Water. It's just Earth Fire now. Or Water Fire, sorry. Excuse me. Is it this one? Yeah. Just want to make sure I had the right one. So that one I'm pretty sure is the... This is the hard part about these ones because this chest plate is so similar. You can't really tell just based on that whether or not it's the female or the male. So I may have to look at the other one. I may have to come back to that one because these are so hard to tell. I may end up just naming this one as female and come back and fix it later. Nope. As soon as I did that, it was the wrong one. That's actually the male. The one I just renamed named as female was actually male. This one's female. Because the waist, again, it's not always as obvious, but that waist is more narrow. So that's the easiest way I've found to tell with some of them. It's actually a combination probably of video and audio. The problem with live streams is mostly bandwidth capacity, from what I've seen. So in other words, if you have the bandwidth, it should work just fine. But if your connection is saturated, like pretty much everybody's is at this point because everyone's online because they have nothing better to do, it saturates the connection, so your quality goes through the floor. Okay, so this one is the dual. This is the water fire, and I was right. That actually was the female. So this one is the male. Again, looking at the waist, you can see it's a slightly wider waist, not quite so narrow. There's the base. I'm pretty sure that's male of this very first water or second water fire. That's the male, but the base version of that one, level 1, the level 1 look. Here's another new one. This one is reminiscent, at least to me, to a Nemesis armor, actually from a long time ago. I think it was Spirit, if memory serves me right. It had kind of this. I don't know how to describe that. It looks like a steam shovel front of the like at the front of the face there, and it has like this almost candle look to it. I don't know, but this is actually similar in looks as far as the head anyway and the shield to a Nemesis armor from a long time ago, back when Nemesis armors were common. So anyway, this is Water Spirit number 3. There are 3 this month. Armor 8, Water Spirit. I'm pretty sure that's male. There is the, I think it was the first Water Spirit. I think it was this one. No, that's the second. That's the first one. The second one. Yeah, that's the second one. So this is the female version of that same armor. Oh, good to hear. Audio seems fixed. Okay, so this is the other raid armor. This is a new one. This is Water Air. So that's a new armor, and I'm pretty sure that's the male version. This is armor number 9, Water Air. Accra Beatbox, welcome. Not sure how to pronounce that. I probably massacred that completely, but I tried. All right, and there's the female version of the dual water, the ascended version. There's the Water Spirit at the very top, which was number 3. That's the female of that one. There's the female of the Water Air at the bottom. We're going to start cycling through all these now because we've gone through most of them already. That's the male version of the first Water Spirit, but a step down from Ascension. There is the Water Spirit, but that's a step down from Ascension male, I believe. That's the second one, number 4. Can't go higher than 360. Yeah, that's going to happen, unfortunately. It also depends on your connection speed. For example, if you're using like 4G, like on your phone, or for example, and your phone's networks are going to be saturated like crazy right now. It's going to be slow, but if you're like at home on an internet connection like Wi-Fi, it should be better. Hopefully, not necessarily always accurate, of course, because everyone's connection speeds are going to be a lot more variable right now than they normally would have been, because everyone's at home and can't really do much else. Okay, so this one, yeah, same one. I wanted to make sure I wasn't messing this up again, because I have the propensity to do that a little bit too often. Okay. Yeah, 360 on mobile. Probably 360 is the best option. If you're on a broadband connection at home on Wi-Fi or even wired connection, you should be okay with 720, I would think. Okay, that's the water fire up here. That's number 2, but that's the female version of the base. And there's our water earth. That's the female of that one, I think. Maybe I got that one wrong. Well, that's the male. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. There's a slight bump in the chest plate there, so that's the female version. So water earth. There's the female. And that is our last new armor. This is also water air. It has a head kind of similar to an armor we had recently. I think it was water fire or spirit fire. I can't remember, but the armor itself looks pretty new otherwise. So that's water air. That's the last armor we have in the files. So at this point, I'm just sorting. So that one is male. There's the water spirit. That's the female. I think that was number 2. Yeah. So that's the step down from Ascension on the female version. There's the base of the male of the very first one. Our raid armor number 1. Sorry, my eye is itching like mad. Okay, that's the water fire. That was the second one. No, that wasn't the second one. That was this one here. Yeah. That is the male, though. I hit the wrong one, but it's okay. There's the base of the female at the very top. That one's done, other than the ring and amulet and head. There's the female of that very last one. Actually, it's a couple different flavors. I have a couple different ones, and I've been making my own for almost 3 years now. So that one of them is vanilla custard. The other one is apple coconut strawberry. I tend to go with more like, what do you call them? Iced tea, welcome. I tend to go with more like dessert flavors and fruit flavors for the most part. That's the male, but one step down from Ascension. Actually, other people have been saying the same thing. If you go to the gear icon and turn your quality down to 360, it should be better. 360 or 480. All right. That's the female, I believe. Yeah, it looks female. Of the water spirit, I think it was this one. No, wrong one. Did it again. That's this one here, I think. Yeah. It's that one right there. Oh, nope, sorry. It isn't that one. It's the very first one. Good lord. I'm getting lost in my armors here. That's it right there. Okay. It's the step down from Ascension of that one. I'll get this eventually. Happens to me sometimes when there's 3 or more of the same the same armor elements in the files. Okay, water earth is easy because there's only the one, and that's the female, I believe. But one step down. There's our dual water. That's the female. Yeah, the volume is a bit low, unfortunately, because if I turn this up a whole lot louder, I get some feedback and distortion. I've actually tested that and found that's the case. So I don't want to turn it up too loud, so maybe I can just talk louder. That might work. So this is water, air. This is our raid armor. That's the female. One step down. I don't know why my Windows does this sometimes. It starts to freak itself out. That's that one, I think. Yeah, that's the female. The female, but one step down from Ascension. There's the dual water. That's the male. There's our water spirit, I think, up toward the top, which I think was this one. No, I did it wrong again. That one. I just got to remember which one's which. Getting them confused in my head. That one, I believe, is the male, but one step down from Ascension. There's the base of the male of our second rate armor. And there's the one I just looked at, but that was the... Yeah, that's that one. But that is the female of that one instead. There's the base of this one here, but the female. There's our water spirit up here, I think. Yep, that's that one, but that's the male base. There's the water spirit at the very top. That one I remember. And that's the female. Yeah, that's the right one. Just making sure, again, because there's 3 of those in the files this month. Which means one of them is going to be a war, obviously, just based on the number of armors. That one is the female of, I think it's this one? No, did that again. It's the second one. It's this one right here. Yeah, but the female version. Okay, and there's the water spirit at the top. That is the male base. I'll just copy that one and rename it. Much easier. There's the water fire. That's the... Is that the second one? No, second one's already done. It's the water fire down here. That's right. So it's this one here, but it's the base. And there's the base of the male of the water earth. And there's the female. There's the base of the water fire right here, but the female version. We're almost done with these. And there's the base of the male of the dual water. And the water air at the bottom. That's the male, but one step down. Oops. If I could type today, that would be helpful. There's the base, I believe, male of this one. Yeah. I think that's male. Pretty sure it is. Which, of course, I can fix in just a second. There's the water, dual water, but base of the male, or female, excuse me. There's the one, yeah, so that actually was the, I'm pretty sure at least that was the female. Or the male, I mean, rather. Yeah, that's the male. Just making sure. So this one is the female. And we are almost done with the armor sorting. Now, once we're done with this, I'll go on to rings and amulets, of course, but and heads. And pets. Which, by the way, the pet this month is a reskinned pet. So, I don't know what people think about that. We had the spirit pet that was kind of a reskin of the former Fire Ifri, IFRI pet, but this one is a reskin of a different one. I don't remember which one it was, but if people see it, they'll probably remember. So this is the water air at the bottom. That's the female, one step down. There's the base male. And the base female. Handy dandy, right in a row. Well, it makes sense, it's the last armors. And there is our cape, or wings, as the case might be. There's our little avatar-looking dude with it on the body, and I'll of course put in the exclusive with that on there when I get farther on. But that's the cape. So we're gonna make ourselves a folder here called cape. I'll move on to the head, the first head there, and it's these 3 here. Because for whatever reason, they still always include 2 of the same image. I don't know if you can see that up here at the top, 60 and 61. It's the same image, exactly. So one of them, of course, when you're just standing still, and the other one when you're in battle. So, anyway. Not sure why. They've been doing that for a long, long time now. So there's our water spirit. I think it was this one. Nope, that's the shovel head dude. That's this one here. Yep, that's that one. So that's armor number 4's head. And there's armor number 1's head. And there's armor number 2's head? 3's head. 3. Yeah, 3. So this was an armor, like I said earlier on, that was never used in the game. It's a fusion armor, but it was never used that month because that was the month they canceled the fusion events entirely, so it never got used, and then it appeared later in a chest on accident when it shouldn't have. So that's the head for that one. There's the head for the water earth. The only water earth, so that makes it easy. There's the water air at the bottom, I believe it was. This one right here, even though the head kind of looks water fire-esque, it's water air. There's the head for the water air raid armor. Alright. There's our dual water. Just had someone message me and say they're not a fan of how many water spirits there are, but water spirits are actually the best, some of the best armors as far as like balancing between attack and defense and HP. They have the advantage of the HP from the spirit, and they also have the advantage of the kind of all-around good stats of water armors. So anyway, there's the pet. I believe that's tier 5. So this pet has been used before, I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to grab the pets out of here really quick and move them into their own folder. New folder, pets. Let me grab all these really quick. So we got 70, 72, 74. And if you look at that, it's pretty clear it's been used before. And there's one of the pets right there. That's the fully broken into pieces version. So that's 75. 75, let's see here, sorry. 75, 76. 75, 76, and 79. Alright. Oh, did I get the wrong? I think I grabbed the wrong one. Let me double check. I think I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I didn't move one of the images for the armors out of here when I didn't mean to. Okay, so 78, 80, 78 through 82. So that should be a total of 10 images. Cool. Okay, so that's the goes the guys out of the way. Okay. Start over here so I can make sure I'm not leaving anything out. So that is the water spirit down here at the bottom, I believe. Yep, that's that one. There's the water fire at the top, which I think was this one. Yep. Yeah, I can't think of the name of that armor. Alright. People talking about that armor looking like a predator. Yeah, it's light core. That's light core essence. Thanks, Umbreon. Wing the Umbreon's reminding me what the armor was called. It's a light core essence. That's why I couldn't think of the name. But it was the same season as the one I mentioned earlier. I just couldn't think of the name of the armor. So that's the head for that one. Oops, wrong window. There we go. And there's the water fire. I think it was this one here. Yep. I've noticed they've been doing a lot of armors. Like if you look on this one right here, there's an opening right there where the eyes would be, and like at the bottom. They've been doing a lot of those where they don't cover the entire face. Like this entire season pretty much for Earth Month, or Air Month, excuse me. Only one covers the face entirely, and that's the exclusive. So they've been doing that a lot lately. I'm not sure why. Okay, so that is rings and amulets already. I thought I had heads left. Oh, maybe I don't. Okay, cool. Back to the start. Okay, let's close this. So this one here is the very top armor's original ring and amulet sets. That shouldn't be a surprise because it's just a reskin. That's the amulet for that one. Let me find the ring really quick while we're on that topic. There it is right there, number 91. Okay, so that's done. Close. Alright, so this one is that kind of shovel face looking dude, the water spirit, this guy right here I think it was. Yeah. If you look at it, it looks very similar to this armor in a lot of ways. Like it has the same kind of bottom edge here, and yeah. Anyway, it has the same kind of gate looking thing here at the top of the, or at the right above the handle of the weapon. So that's that one. That's the ring. Okay, that one might be our water air. Now that I look at the colors, because they did this to me last month. It looks very similar actually to the head, as far as color scheme is concerned. Has the same kind of gold-looking, yellowish-looking accents on it. That kind of go almost into an orange, but almost red actually in some of the spots here. But it has kind of that yellowy sort of fire look, even though it's air. So that one is most likely going with this one. So I'm going to say it does for now, just for the sake of argument. So that's our ring for that guy there. And this one is Looks like the water air raid armor. Has the same kind of wings on the sides of the head and the sides of the shield. It might not be this one, but it looks to me like it is. I'll have to come back to that one. I'm not 100% sure. I will come back to that one. That one is a water fire. It might be this one right here. Oops. Yeah, I know they're different colors. I'm just comparing like the look and feel of the armors and the rings and amulet sets that go with them. Sometimes it's obvious which ones are which. Sometimes it's not so much. This one looks fairly similar to that one as well, but again, it's not really positive. It actually, that one I just looked at might actually go with this one instead of that one that I was just looking at. Even though the color schemes on these are fairly similar also. This has kind of this pinkish look to it and kind of pink and purple and orange, and it has a very similar color scheme as well, and the look and feel of it's very similar. Sometimes it's really hard to tell. So I'm just going to come back to that one too. That one goes with that armor I mentioned that was the predator looking one that you guys mentioned. This one right here looks just like the shield. That one's an easy one. Okay, so that's that one there. So that's the amulet for that one. And I'm going to grab the ring while I'm at it here because that'll be easy. I think they're going to be in here. There's the amulet for that one, for the raid armor. Not that one. That one right there. That's the ring that goes with it. So that's number 96. That was the original ring as well. So that one's just a regular reskin too. Okay. That one I think goes with the water spirit I was just looking at. This one right here, I think. Actually, no. This doesn't go with this one. It goes with the other water spirit. Right element combination, wrong armor. It's this one, I think, because it has the same kind of swirly bits at the top and has the same kind of almost stone look to this, like broken stone. So that's that one. So that one goes with this guy, number 4, which is number 89. Yep, okay. So that's the ring. There's an amulet. That one I think goes with the water fire. I'm pretty sure. Again, it's not quite the same. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, it has the same kind of curl to the head and all that stuff, but it doesn't look that similar otherwise. I don't see like a similar shape on the armor otherwise. The Earth Spirit last season had an Earth Fire color scheme. Well, right, that's because it was actually intended to be Earth Spirit, but the art team apparently didn't get the memo. So they made it Earth Fire when it was supposed to be Earth Spirit. It's not always easy to tell based on just the colors of the armors. Yeah, like Worst Wolf was saying, it was actually a mistake by the art team. It was supposed to be Earth Spirit in the first place, and they screwed it up. So it ended up looking Earth Fire. And even the elements in the armor images, like for example here you can see there's water and there's fire. It was clearly Earth Fire. It had Earth, Earth and fire particle effects, like you can see here on this one, is clearly water fire, but it was supposed to be Earth Spirit. They just screwed it up somehow. I'm not sure how they got it wrong. Okay, I'm going to come back to that one too. That one looks like this one here, maybe. Yeah, it does have this same kind of cross shape here. Has the same kind of white stuff coming out the bottom like that there, and I think that's this one as well. So I'm going to assume for now that this is the amulet for that one. Those ones are relatively simple, but not all of them are. So this is number 92. There we go. There's the light core essence. That's an easy one. That's this guy right here. Yep. That's the original ring and amulet set for that one, so that one should be relatively simple. So that's 93. That is the ring. And I'm going to see if I can find the amulet really fast while we're on that topic. And there it is, number 98. That is the amulet. So that's easy. Those are done. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, it's I think it's an issue of bandwidth saturation. I think there's just too many people online right now that's legitimately bogging down the internet and causing things to be slow. So there is the raid armor. Looks just like the shield, so that's an easy one. That is the raid armor's amulet, which is 94. Yes, 94. That's the amulet there. That one I'm going to come back to. I'm trying to find the ring for the same armor, because I just got the amulet for it. Yeah. I'm going to open it up here I think I might have already looked at that one, but I'm going to double check anyway. Okay, there's the eye with that broken piece on it. That was the water spirit at the top. I think it was the second one. This one? Yeah. So this is the same look and feel right there in the middle of the shield. It has the eye with the broken stone around it. So that's the same one as that one. So that's an easy one. 99. Okay, that one's done. Okay, that one might be actually the amulet for this one. No, never mind. Not even close. Some of these aren't that obvious. Sometimes this happens. Okay, so there's our water earth. I didn't even look at the water earth. I forgot that armor was even there. So this is the water earth ring because it looks just like that armor, so that's an easy one. 101, so that's the ring. And there's a crafting material, and there is the amulet for the same armor. So 103 is the amulet. There we go. Okay, now we got to sort out where the rest of these go. Back up to the top. Okay, so water fire, first armor is done. That's our reskin. That's our other reskin. That one's also done. Water spirit is done. That's the reskin of the fusion armor that was never used. Then we have this one here, which was... Yeah, that's the water spirit. That one's good. Got to figure out water. That's the one I really wanted to look at first. Okay, so water. I move this over here and go down to the rings and amulets again and kind of go through them that way. Okay, so this one... Oh, I don't even know why I didn't see that. So this same kind of color scheme in the center of the shield, very reminiscent of that. And the head has these flares that come off the sides, which is also very similar. I think that's our ring. Like, for example, this month the dual air does not look distinctly dual air. It looks actually kind of, has almost like more of a fire or a water look to it. This one is water and has also some of these kind of more pink and purple colors, which would be kind of more spirit-esque or even sometimes fire-esque, depending on the color scheme. So it's not always obvious just on the colors of the armor what the armor actually is, which is why you have to rely on the particle effects. So like the water there and the water droplets, this is definitely the dual water, but it's a matter of matching up the rings and amulets. This one has a much more consistent color scheme to that, somewhat. But let me look at the other rings just really quick to be sure. That one doesn't really look like this armor at all. To my eyes, anyway. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. Let me see, because we have 3 armors, I think, without rings and amulets. Yeah, we have 3. We have 6 total of these guys left. So 3 armors without it. Okay, so I'm going to say for now, since this has a very kind of similar look and feel, I shouldn't say look and feel, but more consistent color scheme. Like if you look at the head there, there's that kind of different colored gem in the center of the forehead there, above the head. And it has the same kind of colored gem here, more or less. And this has the similar kind of look there. But just for the sake of argument, I'm going to open up this one too, because that one we don't have a ring for yet either. Because we have a ring for one and an amulet for the other, but we don't have a full set for 3 of the armors. So it kind of is reminiscent of this one, but it doesn't seem like it's the right color scheme. Oh, I just recognized that little guy right there. Never mind. I got to go back to that other ring, which was that one right there. That's the ring for the raid armor. So if you look right here in the center of the shield, it has that same kind of diamond shape. So I think, pretty sure, that's the ring for that one. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to say it is. Because it looks to me like it is, and so I mean, I can get input from you guys, but it's not necessarily live input, just what I see. So, all right. Sorry, getting another window out of my way here on my other screen. Okay, so I'm going to say for now that that is the ring, number 95, for that armor there. Now we only have 2 armors, 2.5 armors to sort out, because we have 5 rings and amulets left. So, back up to the top. The first ones are done. The first 3 are done. Water Spirit, I'm pretty sure, is done also. Dual Water I still need. Water Earth is done. This Water Fire right here, I still need the ring and amulet set for that one too. Let me grab that one. That one might be easier to sort out. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't think that one goes with that one. If anything, I think it goes this one, the one that goes with that one. It just looks like it, kind of the color scheme and the general look and feel looks like it matches up better. Has the same kind of gem in the center with a diamond shape in it. And it has a similar kind of look to that piece right there. I've actually noticed that with some of these armors, I actually have to go to a step down from Ascension. With one armor in particular, I noticed that the shield matched perfectly, but as soon as you saw the Ascended version of it, it didn't look enough like it. But for whatever reason, the non-Ascended version, the level 50 to 99 look, matched. For whatever reason, I don't know why. But this one just seems to me that it matches up better. And that could be entirely me, but let me go to the arm here. Because the arm has the same kind of feel to it. Like the shoulder, I mean, the shoulder pauldron looks very similar. But I could be wrong. I don't know, just guessing. But this looks like this armor to me. So I'm going to say it's that one. So water fire number 7 right there. 87 is the ring for that one. Now we got to find the amulet, which I think is probably, again, this one, because it's a fire. And that has much more of a fire look to it. Because the ring would be water and the amulet would be fire. And it doesn't really look, other than this part right here on the top of the helmet, that right there, that matches up nicely. And again, the color scheme is similar. And the look and feel is similar. I think that's probably the amulet for it. So I'm going to say, again, just because I'm trying to get this done, I'm going to say that's the amulet for that one. So now we only have 2 armors left, which are the dual water, which I think that right there, actually, now that I look at it, yeah, that looks like it could be the same one. It's the same kind of color scheme to the weapon and the shield. Let me go down one step from Ascension. It does look very similar to me. Just has an offset color right there in the center of the shield, like it's reversed, basically. I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a tougher than usual. Yeah, this is definitely it. I'm just going to say it is. Because it looks too much like it to not be. And by the way, incidentally, last month I did get the air, one of the seasonal armors, I did get the air spirit amulet wrong. I actually swapped it with the other air spirit that we're currently in the war for right now. I got them backwards. But they did have a very similar look anyway. Okay, so there's that. That is number 97. That one is the amulet for that. I'm going to say that one is, because it looks too much like it to me to not be. Now we need, let's see, the ring for the dual water. That one's done. That one's done. Yeah, we need the amulet for the water air at the bottom. And that does have the same kind of gold accents to it. The armor itself, I mean. And it does have a very similar kind of shape right there in the center of the chest. I'm zooming in a little bit too far. Like that little piece right there that kind of flares out, looks just like that. But not exactly like it, of course, but it's very similar. Yeah, I think that's it. It does have, like, and it even has the same kind of accent color at the bottom edge like this does. I'm going to say this is the ring, or the amulet, excuse me, for this armor. Just because it looks too much like it. And we're only missing one at that point, which is the dual waters ring, I think. Okay, dual water. Yeah, dual waters ring is the only one left, which is, I think, that one right there. So we're just going to name that one really fast. Where'd you go? Water, water. There it is. Okay. And that is the ring. Okay, now we have SF46, material 1. Oops, I did not mean to do that. What are you doing, you goofy thing? 2. Okay, so here's our crafting materials. There's, it looks like a seashell with like a shell with a pearl in the middle of it and a scroll. So that's our water element crafting materials. Okay, moving on. Here we go. So let's go to rings and amulets and heads. And cape and pets we're going to copy and we're going to paste in here. And we're going to paste you also the bosses in the same folder. All right. Now comes the assembly. Here we go. This time I'm going to do male again. This time I did female last month just to kind of shake things up a bit. So it's not quite the same every single time. I just kind of want to do a little bit of variety so it's not the same boring repetition every single month. I mean, not that it's that boring. I suppose it's kind of fun to watch things put together. I'm sure, but I've been doing it for so long. It's just kind of run of the mill every day for me. All right. I did not mean to open all of them, but that's fine. Okay, armor number 2, number 5. Trying to put these back in their original order. 8, 9. There's 3, 5, 10, 7, I think. I went too far. So 8, 7, 6, 4. So we should have them in order now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. All right. Yeah, Knight Rider. Just change your setting at the bottom. Hit the gear icon and put it on 360p, and it should be fine. Other people are reporting the same issue for some reason. They're not getting audio if they don't change that setting down. Okay, here we go. This is the 3rd version of this armor now. I believe they've all been raid armors too. Maybe one of them was war, I'm not sure, but this one is the, I'm going to move my monitor over here a little bit more angled. There we go. Yep, no problem. So this is the 3rd iteration of this armor. I think the first one may have actually been a war armor, but they've been raids since. Well, it depends on the month. I've had some months where it actually came out. Well, I should say it's been inconsistent for the past maybe 5 or 6 months, something like that. It normally is the 7th to the 10th of the month. Usually is when the data comes out. I actually got this on the 3rd, so day before yesterday. But usually it's the 7th to the 10th of the month before, so usually the first week to 10 days. But I got, I think it was either November's or December's, like a week and a half early. It was like the last few days of the month. I'm not sure why or what happened, but they came out way early that month. So it was like actually, because usually it's the month before. This was the month before that. It was like the last few days of the month before. So it was really abnormally early. Change your audio. Or sorry, change your settings at the bottom. Hit the gear icon and change it to 360. You should be good at that point. You probably can't hear me, so that's kind of pointless for me to say that in the chat in the actual live stream because you can't hear me say it. Yeah, sorry. I'm saying it during the live stream when you can't hear me say it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Duh. All right, so there is our first. This one is water fire, yeah. So originally, I think this armor was water fire in the first place, but I think it was fire water, so reversed. And it was also, I think it was a war armor, and then the second time it was water spirit or spirit water, whatever. And now that's this 3rd time it's water fire again. So there's that one. So you can see it before I add anything to it. Oh, I gotta fix that arm. It's way too far off. Go back into here. I gotta fix that. It's not quite far enough in. There we go. That's better. Looked a little funky to my eyes. Now it looks better. Okay. And there's the shield. Since this is a standard reskin, meaning it's just a recoloring of the original armor, ring and amulet set match exactly. So that makes things a little easier on these armors. And there are 3 reskins this month out of 10 armors, which I think is good. Because what that means is there are 7 entirely new armors instead of armors being based off of something in the past. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Zoom in, there we go. I'm not sure if I have to clean up the edges on that. It looks pretty good. Yeah, sometimes I have to clean up the wrist or some of the edges have a little bit of bleed over, but this actually looks pretty good. A little bit right there. Probably have to do a little bit along the edge of the weapon so that the rest of the handle blends in better. Which is right there. Sometimes it works out really well and I don't have to kind of blend that edge, but other times I do. Pop. And kapow. There we go. So there is our first armor done, and my computer's lagging. Slowing down, slowing down. It's not slow, but it's slower. So there's the first armor. Let's see, how wide are we here? About 290. About average width for most armors nowadays. 290 to 300 pixels is about the average. Put that kind of in the middle there. And now we need to save this to this folder here, Armor 1. Alright, now we have the Light Core Essence reskin, which instead of being Earth Water is now Water Fire. So it has more of a fire look to it instead of more of an earth look to it, but is very similar in most other ways. Like you can see, like in the shield here, it looks much more fire than earth. Same thing with the center of the chest. But in all other ways is very, very similar. Since it has still a water in it, it's going to look very similar in that respect. There we go. Trying to line up the head with that chest sometimes is a pain. Trying to get it to look just right can sometimes not be fun. Alright, and there is the legs. That's usually pretty easy to get the legs lined up. Sometimes they have a nice little like blurred effect on the bottom or on the top end of the legs that makes it clear where it lines up to. I've had a couple of those happen, and it's very, very useful for lining things up. There is the arm of that one, like so. And then we have the shield. And this shield is humongous and does in fact cover up most of that arm, but that's pretty normal for that to happen. Pretty commonplace. Can't see any of the effects on the arms because the shield covers it up. This one I'm going to have to blend, I can see already. There we go. Blend in that wrist a little bit, and then the bottom end of the weapon, so the hilts match up a little better. And that can go right about there. Actually, hang on, is that right? Oh yeah, it is. It's right there. There we go. I actually was off just a little bit, but I fixed it. All right. That one's 265 wide. That's actually pretty close to square, actually. Pretty darn close. I remember the original armor was too. Okay, now we're going on to this guy here. This is the Predator-looking dude. That was the fusion armor that was never released, and then was accidentally put into a chest when it shouldn't have been. When they have those fusion armor chests that pop up here and there, like fusion armors from season 33 to 35, you know, those kind of things. This one was included when it shouldn't have been. So it was like something Matrix, I think is what it was called. I did get a screenshot from a friend who got it, but it was never in game, so there's no way to get the ring and amulet set for it, even though the stats of the armor were actually pretty good. I have a sneeze coming. Ugh. Pardon me. Oh, excuse me. All right. We interrupt your regularly scheduled live stream for a massive sneeze that probably deafened people. Sorry about that. My allergies have been going bonkers the last few weeks since the weather started warming up and the pollen is getting back out in the air again. And allergies suck. Yeah. Yeah, it's back. It's water spirit, though, this time, unfortunately, which a lot of people don't like. But I like water spirit armors, just in general. Not always necessarily the looks of them, but the stats generally are pretty good. It has a very kind of robot-esque look to it as well. It has kind of these, like, you know, lights and like piping and stuff coming off the back. I like it. Yeah, they are usually very tanky. Water, earth, and water spirit are generally the as far as off-element armors are concerned, are usually very good. And there is that, which again sadly covers up the arm. But I do like this weapon. Excuse me. It has a very kind of Tron-esque looking feel to it. For those of you who don't know Tron, watch the movie. It's good. Back in my childhood is when the first one came out, to give you an idea of how old I am, dating myself. But the very first Tron movie came out, I think I was not even quite 10 years old. Yeah, water spirits are generally really good. Okay, bottom end of that weapon, a little bit erased there. Okay, there we go. But yeah, the original Tron movie was at the time a very pioneering sort of look and feel to a movie, because that kind of thing had never been done before. And then they did the second one, which was pretty good. I liked the second one pretty well, but I wasn't as big of a fan of the second one as I was of the first. That looks wrong to me. There, that looks better. But yeah, this weapon has kind of that kind of whitish blue glow to it, which was very reminiscent of Tron. The bad guys were all in red. Good guys were all in kind of that whitish blue. It was very much white, but it had kind of a bluish tinge to it. Hey, Garsu, welcome. Yeah, it was a good movie. All right. 305-ish, I think. Yeah, maybe a little bit wide. Let's do 300. Oh, crap. 300, you dumb thing. 300. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Gotta get that more centered in here as well. About like that. I typoed on that name, but I'll fix it later. Didn't like the first one? Well, it's a kind of a more of an era thing. At the time, it was amazing. Back in the 80s, when I was a kid. All right. This one I have to zoom in on because these kind of swirly bits at the bottom end and the top, I don't want to cut them off, because some of them blend in really well with this white kind of checkered background, and I can't see them that well. So I'm going to zoom in on this one a little bit more than I usually do, because I don't want to chop anything off. The chest doesn't have a whole lot on it, thankfully, though, so that's easy. Mostly just on that arm. This one has a long kind of face to it, so this is going to kind of overlap the chest a bit. So it would be right about there. It has almost like an octopus sort of feel to it. Like this kind of face sort of thing kind of has an octopus-esque feel, because like these watery bits at the top of the head kind of look a little that way to me. And it has kind of this broken stone along with the water kind of flurry bits. I like it. I think it's cool looking armor. That one I have to zoom in on because I don't want to cut off the bits of that arm either. Funky looking armor, yeah. It's pretty cool. I like it anyway. It's a very different kind of look and feel to a lot of the armors we've had. So it has kind of this like broken, like stone looking feel to it, with the kind of watery flurry bits. I don't know what else to call it. But then the shield has a lot of that going on, along with the helmet. And again, sadly, the shield covers up most of it. Let's see, where's that arm? Right about there. And the weapon, again, has the same kind of eyes with the broken stone and water swirls. Swirls, flurry bits, I don't know what you want to call it. That's just the terms I use. Who knows what the real terminology for it would be? I have no idea. Just what I like to call them. And I got to cut the edge of that off so it goes back behind, because there's still a little bit of this coming off the side of that leg bit, thigh part of it. Pretty short little handle there. I honestly have no idea. I'm assuming it's probably going to be an event probably a little bit later this month, because we have the two air-water armors that kind of look like jesters. That's probably going to be materials for that, I would think. Because we have 3 additional materials this month that haven't been used. Incidentally, there's actually an earth fire armor from last month that didn't get used. I don't know what the plan is for that either. I thought it was supposed to be some kind of event, like maybe St. Patrick's Day or something, but nothing ever happened. So I don't know what's going on with that one either. Move you up just a titch more. There we go. How tall are we? 275? 270? Wow, that's really tall. Armors are not normally that tall. That's a very tall armor. So that's armor number 4, I think. Yeah, I wanted to make sure. Okay, and here's our dual water bad boy. And once I get done with assembling this one, I'm probably going to jump and do the cape really quick with it, since I need to get that done eventually anyway. So I'll pause on the armor assembly after I get done with this one, just so I can make the armor with the cape attached. Can't wait to get that one. I don't know what that feels like. Because even to this day, I don't have a single exclusive on any account. Well, any of my accounts. I have a couple of friends' accounts I'm kind of keeping an eye on temporarily, and they have exclusives, but I don't have any on any of mine. My own accounts, I mean. That's kind of hard to line that up, because there's no neck. So it's kind of hard to line that up a little bit. Right about there should be good, I think. Sorry, my eye's still irritating me from my allergies. All right. That lines up actually really well, right there. Yep, they are pretty cool looking. This month's actually got a lot of really good looking armors in it in general. Even the reskins are armors I like the original versions of, so it's no big deal. Well, not as big of a deal, I should say. And there is the dual water before I add anything to it. So you can kind of all get a look at that armor. Because the shield, of course, is going to cover up the arm and, you know, all that good stuff. So there's the shield. I've got a little bit of bleeding, a little bit of a bleeding edge there on the bottom end of the shield. I got to clean that up. Like about like that. Zoom in on the bottom end of the shield. It's got just that little bit of a bleed right there. Not a lot, but just a little bit. I've noticed that's been happening a lot the last few months. Like they clean them up in later versions of the files, but I never bothered to redo them. But sometimes they have those kind of almost looks like the image was saved with a little bit of a bleed over of the graphic. It's like if you look on here, it doesn't have any kind of additional, you know, extra bits on the top or bottom of it, but that one had a little bit extra on the bottom of that. I try to clean those up when I can. That one looks pretty good just as is. I shouldn't have to do anything with that one at all. Cool. All right. And where's the rest of that hilt? There it is. Top of the page. And sometimes these things just don't, like there's no, for some reason there's no like handle there. I don't know why that happens sometimes, but it does. But I just kind of try to do it the best I can. Kind of line up the line from here over to here. Don't know why that happens sometimes. Doesn't happen every month, but just sometimes it doesn't look quite right. But if you if you zoom out of the image and don't look at it too much, it's not too big of a deal most times. Okay, I'll zoom out just a bit more. There we go. Let me first save this, and then I'll grab the cape, throw it on there. Like about like so. That is 250. Huh, it's actually taller than it is wide. Again, not that common. Let me save that. That's armor number 5. Okay. Now, I'm going to zoom back in here. We're going to resize. Gonna make this 400 by 400 just to make it extra big. Might have to even make it bigger than that, depending on the size of the cape. Take you down there. And let's go grab the cape. And I'm going to use the one that's the fully extended version, not the one that's kind of in between, kind of the at-rest version. This is probably going to have to be even bigger, because that's pretty big by itself. New layer, back behind, drop it in there. Let's see here, where's the back right about? Oh no, I can't do that. Well, actually no, I can. Sorry, what am I doing? It kind of doesn't wrap around the front like it's supposed to, but I'm not sure if I should really go in there and delete all that to kind of make it look like it's supposed to be there. I mean, I could, but I don't think I want to have that deleted, like erase all of that in front of the shield, or in front of that wing, part of the wing there. There's also this behind it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But that's it right there, so you can all see what it looks like. Let's drop that back to one layer again. We're going to move the whole thing. How wide are we here? 335. Oh, that's pretty good actually. 340. Ta-da! Save that. Sorry, just reading the chat and see what people are talking about. So this is with cape, just so I have that already saved. And we can now close that one and move on. All right, now we have our water earth. So get this guy going here. The cape, yeah, they, oh, yeah, older ones for milestones would be pretty cool, but they did have a couple of them. I don't remember when it was. It's been a while ago, but they had a couple of the older capes that were available for purchase for a much discounted rate as far as gems are concerned. You could buy some of the older ones, but I only bought one because it was the only one of that time frame I liked. Didn't really like most of the other ones. So, okay. This is a hard one to get lined up. There we go. That'll work for there. But they did have one of those that was available in the limited shop. If anyone remembers back when they had the discounted rates for everything, where you could like upgrade all of your training fields or whatever you have in your castle for like just a few gems instead of the usual like 40 or whatever it was per instance. Yeah, it was a lot of people took advantage of that and got their training fields or whatever else they have on their castle grounds to generate gold. They upgraded a lot of those for a lot cheaper than it would have normally been. Trying to get that lined up, sorry. Pausing for a moment to kind of look at it and see if it looks right. Because it should be right about... Actually, that looks pretty good right there. There we go. Okay. So there's that one. There's our only water earth, which means that's our seasonal. One of our seasonals. We have our shield. Right about there, and it has this kind of cool looking skull effect to it. I like that. And the weapon is, of course, just kind of this weird skull looking thing with like broken stone or something coming off of the end of it. I don't know what you'd call that, but I like this armor too. It's very kind of chaotic and cool looking. Like that, and I gotta blend in a lot of this wrist. That one's got a lot of bleed over. And the bottom edge of this weapon as well. Alright. Okay, and we got the rest of the handle, which I can put right about there. Looks pretty good. There we go. So there's armor number 6 done, I believe. Yeah, because 5 was the dual water, so this is number 6. So width-wise, about 250. This one's about the same as well, pretty square. Yep. Okay, now we have our second, or is it third, water fire. It's third, actually. Let me look here. We have one... No, sorry, it is the second. It's the second water fire. There's 3 water spirits. That's what I'm thinking of. All right. I had to find the top half of the body here. The chest and rear-facing arm. This one, again, has no face. So this one's... I shouldn't say no face, but it doesn't cover up the entire face. So this one, I'm not sure if I need to leave a little bit of a gap there or not. Like if you zoom in, you can see there's a little bit of a gap right there. But it looks pretty good with a gap there, actually. So. Oh, you retired, TP? I didn't know that. Oh, well, cool. It's been a while. How have you been? Too many people are retiring. I mean, I understand kind of the reasoning why, but had a lot of people I played with for years that have just, in the past 6 months to a year, just stopped playing. I guess they're just tired of the repetitiveness of the game, which is unfortunately kind of the nature of the beast at the moment. There's only so much that can really be changed in the game, unfortunately, without breaking other components entirely. One of the most common complaints actually on the Reddit is people complaining that it's too repetitive and they need to change this, they need to change that, and I don't think people realize the level of complexity involved in the code and what it would require to quote-unquote fix everything. Yeah, friendly competition is what keeps a lot of people playing, actually. Oh, August. Wow, I didn't realize it had been that long. I thought it had been more recent. Okay, so there's that right there. Out in the middle. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that a lot of people would like to see changed, but I've explained this on Reddit a few times, so if you haven't read anything on Reddit, you probably wouldn't have seen this. But the biggest concern, really, at this point is if they change anything really in the game, there's so much of the code that's intertwined with other parts of the game that it shouldn't be related to at all, that just changing the simplest of thing in one part of the game could break something somewhere else entirely that isn't related at all. So they really are hesitant to change much of anything. They're trying to just work with existing code and just slightly tweak existing functionality without messing with anything else too much. So that's what they're trying to do at this point, is they're trying to just keep the existing code base as it is and just trying to slightly tweak existing functionality to add new features. Like the Epic Boss Reloaded, for example, was existing functionality they added. It was just, they just tweaked it and changed it. Like the tiering up of armors was something that was kind of already existing functionality because it just involved fusion. But it did have to have, oh, that's a really tall armor, sorry. But they did have existing functionality that already did that. So they didn't have to like redo anything. So they just added functionality to existing functionality without messing anything up. Well, the Epic Boss Fight Minions button was broken there for a bit, but let me just double check one thing here really fast. I want to just make sure I didn't mess that up because I want to make sure I didn't rename the wrong armor. Okay, yeah, it is the right one. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to make sure I didn't mess something up. Yeah, a lot of people actually that have retired long time ago are still in chats with people. But after a while, they just, because they have nothing really to talk about that isn't related to the game, because they're not playing. They just eventually, a lot of the people I've talked to have gone inactive after a while. They just stop talking because there's not really a whole lot for them to talk about anymore. Unless they have a lot of like more personal related information that they've shared with people in their guild or their family, they tend to just eventually go inactive. But I guess that's kind of up to the person in question. So this one has that kind of, I mentioned sort of like a shovel, for lack of a better description, a shovel face. So it has that kind of that front end that this looks much more like kind of like a regular sort of knight's, like the front of this face, this helmet, looks like a regular knight sort of feel to it. Obviously, there's the eyes behind it that wouldn't be there and the candles and stuff, but I digress. That's just kind of something I noticed, and I kind of like the look of it. And then we have the legs, which are way over here, which kind of look almost like castle gates, like a portcullis or something similar. We can put that right about here. I like the look of this armor, don't get me wrong. I just thought it was kind of weird to have that sort of almost like a castle gate with candles. It's cool, but it's just weird. And here's a little bit more of that bleed over I mentioned on this hand. If I move this up into place here, you can kind of see it once I have it in place. Right there, there's a little bit of like a dual. If I just delete that, you can kind of see that's where it's supposed to be, but it kind of bled over a bit. I've been seeing that a lot the last couple of months. Not sure why. Last few months, I should say. Shoulders right about there. Alright. And we have this shield, which again kind of looks like a castle gate, sort of, with like a tapestry almost. But it also is on the armor itself, so I don't know what you'd call that necessarily. There's that. Okay. And now, weapon. Which I think is a pretty cool looking weapon. And this one actually has the hilt on the bottom end of it, which is kind of strange. They don't normally have that. It's usually a separate piece, like you can see right there. So I may end up having to delete some of that. Oops, I did not want to do that. Got to put the weapon down here first, because you can see it goes over the top of the armor right here, which I don't want it to do. So I'm going to probably end up having to delete some of that. Will-o'-the-wisp, yeah, kind of does. I see what you're saying. Okay, so let me delete some of this, because this needs to be behind the armor, not in front of it. I'm just going to delete all of that out, and then I will drop in the rest of the hilt on this one over here where it belongs. Because that's really rare for them to put the... It usually chops off, like you can see over here on this one. It usually chops off like that, and then you just attach it, and then you put the weapon or the rest of the hilt back behind. But for whatever reason, this one included the whole thing. So now you just grab this, I line it up like so. Ta-da! Kind of cool looking. I like this armor. Not sure if this is going to be a seasonal or a war or what, but... Okay, there we go. So this one is 270 by 255, so 270 should be good. Kind of center you in there. I did that capitalization thing again. I'm going to have to go back and fix that right now before I move on, because it's going to bug me now that I've done it twice. If it was just once, I could move on, but I've done it twice now. I got to fix that. It's going to bug me. Just me being a little bit retentive. Okay, there we go. Now, this one here. This is our second rate armor. This is the water air. Okay. Of all the armors this month, I think this one's probably a close second, in my opinion, to the dual water. I like the look of this one probably second best, but I always like water air, so again, that's not really that surprising. But I just like the look of this, and it has almost like an insect feel to it, because the boss has kind of an insect feel to it as well. Like it has this front, like, what is that name of that fish called that has the little glowy bit that hangs in front of it that it uses as bait? Can't think of the name of it, but it kind of has that feel to it. But I like the look of this armor as well. Like I said, probably my second favorite of all of them. It is almost like fins, like a fish, but also has like almost an insect feel at the same time. There's that one. Ta-da. Alright, shield. Here's the shield. But it has wings, which would be more indicative of like an insect. But it has like fins, like on the hand there you can see the fins, of more of like a fish. So it's kind of like a combination, which would make sense, you know. Air and water, go figure. As soon as I say that, I realize how dumb that sounded, but oh well, too late. Already said it, too bad, too late to take it back now. Alright, There's the weapon. Can now drop you in here, which I think I'm going to have to blend that wrist too. Zoom in a bit so I can line that up properly. There we go. And as per the norm, when I finish with this, I will upload this to YouTube, so those who couldn't watch it live because of the Guild War can watch it then, and they can look at it then if they want to. This is just for those who can join in, and I appreciate you guys watching. Trying to get higher up in the Twitch ranks, as it were, but unfortunately, since I only stream once a month, it's kind of a bit harder for me to do that. There we go. I've had people tell me that I should do other live streams, like live stream playing games or whatever, but I don't really play a whole lot of games, unfortunately. I've got like a couple of older games, like I've got, I think I've got like Amnesia: The Dark Descent on here. I've got, I think I might even have like the original Return to Castle Wolfenstein on here. The 3D one that was like 2005 or something. I can't remember when it was, but it's the more recent one, not the old-fashioned one, not Wolf 3D. But I don't really play any other games. I've just never really had the time. My regular life outside of the game and work is fairly busy, so I don't have a whole lot of time, unfortunately. But if I did live stream more often, it would definitely help me get the, is it affiliate or partner? I can't remember what the terminology is, but I don't have that yet. I've gotten really close a few times, but never quite get enough of the milestones or requirements or whatever they call them to get to that point. Partner, yeah. I think it is partner and then affiliates later on if you get even higher in the ranks. Or you get more accomplished or whatever. Not sure on the terminology they use. Sponsor, yeah. I don't do it often enough for it to be a possibility at this point. But in the future that may change. Just don't have the time right now to do it, unfortunately. Family life is just a little bit too busy to allow for that. Having grandkids that live with you kind of limits your ability to do these kinds of things. Yeah, I've got the views and the followers. That's not a problem. Thankfully, that's not the issue. It's actually more a matter of the amount of times per month you stream and the amount of hours per month you stream, something like that. Yeah, exactly. That's the issue, is I have to do it more often. And right now, unfortunately, I just don't have the time. I wish I did. Because I rather enjoy doing this, and if it was something more along the lines of like playing a game, like I could do that in like sessions or something, that would be kind of fun. But again, it's more a matter of time at this point. Not desire or anything like that. I just have to find the time to do it. A little bit of bleed over on that shield. Just a little. Alright, where's the weapon? This one's just a bad looking weapon. I love this weapon. It's a massive like curved blade. You can see a little bit of bleed over right there as I passed it. Not a lot. What kind of stuff would I do? Oh, affiliate first and partners? Thanks, Joanna. I'm never quite sure on the terminology because I don't pay that much attention because it's not something I'm too concerned about right now. I generally play more like first-person shooter stuff. I don't play a whole lot of like RPGs or things of that nature, at least on PC anyway. First-person shooters, first-person genre games, really. If I had to pick, I'd pick probably more like first-person shooters or maybe first-person horror, something like that. But first-person perspective games is what I generally enjoy. Like, you know, Portal, things like that, or first-person. The regular first-person shooters, like the old Doom and Quake games, stuff like that. I don't have anything newer. Anything new, really, I should say. So I can't really play anything new because my machine's decent, but it can't handle anything roughly after about 2015, I think. Just the graphics are too intense for my computer to be able to handle even on lower settings. Just can't quite handle it. I'd have to get a better machine for that. Okay, so there's armor number 10. We're done. Okay. All right, let me look back at my folder here for my last image. My last data mine, see how big it was. Because this one's going to be 10, and that was my old one. This one had 11 on it. So I'm going to use probably the width of this roughly because it should fit within that. So I'm going to make it the previous, actually I'm going to use this one as my reference because this is before I added in the earth that showed up later. That's going to be my reference point. Okay, so that one is 1350 by 1200. Oops. New. All right. New layer. All right, and box. Let's go to about the 350 mark. Go out to here to about the 700 mark. Right about there looks good. All right, and now I'm going to go grab the armors. Oops, I need to move that to here. Should be over the top of the line, yes. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure it was over the top of the line instead of being behind it. Kind of what I use to align all my armors, just to make sure they line up properly. About like that. That is a humongous armor, I have to say. Just size-wise, it's just wide, it's huge. This one, thankfully, is not. It's tall, but it's not big, not wide. I may have to move these around a little bit because I'm not sure if I'll have enough room. I might, actually. Because the water is not that big. Actually, that works out quite nicely. Like about like that. Cool. Second line, second row, I should say. Kind of trying to line these up somewhat with the armors above. Not always as easy as it looks. Like that. Okay, there's our raid armor, number 2. And last but not least, water, air. Okay. Get those kind of in position. It actually worked out really nicely. Cool. I kind of not exactly lined up top to bottom, but close enough. Okay, so I'm going to do my predictions here in just a minute. I want to get the rings and amulets and everything lined up first. Let me do a new layer of this. Zoom in. Same ring and amulet set for this one, so it's not different from previous. Whoops, I did not want to do that again. Undo. There we go. Again, same ring and amulet for this one as well, just recolored. Yeah, if I have the time to do it, I would love to start doing like live streams of playing games, like more of kind of a let's play sort of thing. It's more a matter of time at this point. I'd love to do it. I think I'd do decently. I don't know if I'd do well, but I mean, I'm not necessarily an avid gamer per se. I mean, the newest console I have, just for reference, is an Xbox 360. That's the newest console I have, and I don't have the time to even play that. So, I don't know. Maybe if I have the time, eventually I will, but at this point in time, unfortunately, I don't really have the time to play really anything. My weekends are usually pretty cram-packed, and I have rarely enough time to even hit wars a lot of the time. I just don't have the time to even participate in wars most weekends that have wars. And thankfully in raids I can just do auto and walk away. Kind of makes it easier. Okay, there's that. And there's the ring. I think I got these rings and amulet sets right. I'm pretty sure I did. Anyway. Kind of confused there a bit at first and wasn't quite sure I think I do have this right. The only one I'm really not 100% positive on is the dual water, but I think it's right. Pretty sure. It's really just a matter of between these two armors here, really, the water and the water air. I'm not 100% sure on those ones if they're right or not. I think they probably are. This amulet right here, though, could really not go with any other armor, in my opinion, other than this one. Because it doesn't really look enough like any of the others. It's the rings I'm not positive on. Because they kind of, you know... Well, again, this one has kind of more of a similar look to that armor, too. Even though the color scheme isn't exactly the same. It's more similar to that one than it is to any of the others. So, anyway. This one I know is obvious. These first three I know are already done. It's just some of the other ones. And this one, again, matches up to that armor perfectly. So does this one. It's more the water fire here. And then these two here on the far right side. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just kind of going with my gut on these. Okay, so predictions at this point. So the water fire, the very first one is raid. The second one, water fire, I'm assuming is probably going to be a war. Because there's water fire would normally be fusion, since the change from, you know, the water fire being exclusive before to dual element now. So I'm going to assume this one's going to be a war. The water fire on the bottom is probably fusion. This water spirit here, I'm assuming, is probably going to be a war as well. The water spirit next to it's probably going to be a seasonal. The dual water, seasonal exclusive, of course. Water earth, seasonal. Water fire down here, I think, is probably fusion. This water spirit, I'm not sure. I'll have to check my calendar. Water air is raid. It's the second raid, and then this water air over here on the far right side, I'm not sure. Let me double check my notes here, actually, because I made this mistake a few times in previous months. I've still got my one here from Fire Month, and this one was the fusion. So fire spirit, spirit earth. I'm running this through in my head. So Spirit Earth this month was this one. That was the fusion. So Earth, Air, Air, Water, Water, Fire. Yeah, so it is Water, Fire that's fusion. Okay, I wanted to make sure. Okay, so Water, Air, this is probably seasonal. This Water, Air on the bottom row. Most likely seasonal. So Raid, War, Seasonal, Exclusive, Seasonal, Fusion, not sure, Raid, and Seasonal. So that's most likely how it's going to come out. So water fire, this one's most likely going to be fusion. So there you go. Now, I'm going to start putting elements on and all that other good stuff. Okay, so first things first, let's grab air. Whoops, don't do that. Goofy thing. Air. And I'm going to zoom in over on these two here. Air. And air. Then we do the only earth, which is this guy right here. And then we do the fire. There's two of those, one right here. And one right here. Actually, sorry, is there three? Yeah, sorry, three. There's three water fires. I didn't mean to do that quite yet. And then this one here. That's right. Duh. 3 water fires, 3 water spirits. Okay, now we need spirit, which is this one here. And this one here. Whoops, too far. Slow down there, Turbo. And this one here. Okay. Now, water. Whoa! Move it too close to the edge and it wants to jump. Wants to jump down farther than it should be. Okay. Okay. And water, fire. Oops, I wanted to move that one over just a titch. There we go. Okay, and then we have the dual water over here on the far right. Like so. There's our armors. Okay. Now, we get to move on. I'm actually going to quickly save this before I move on. All right, there's saved. Okay, so now let's move on to text box. Oops, I still have something selected. There we go. I always make this box too big. I wonder if I did it this time or not. I might not have. I might be okay. And 26, I think, is what I usually use. I actually didn't make too bad. It's not too big. A little bit big, but not too bad. Let's take this and move you over to about there, and I'll just chop off the excess. Whoops, don't do that. Not too close. There we go. Okay. Move you. It's actually not that far off center. Did pretty good. There we go. That is perfectly centered, according to my own measurements here. Because it's 1350 wide. Actually, no, it's not perfectly centered. It's a little bit off still. Sorry. Brain cramp. Needs to be more like around like that-ish. Good enough. Okay, now we're going to go back to our element, or our materials. And again, I don't know which of these is exclusive versus regular. I'm going to guess this is the regular. And the scroll is exclusive. I truthfully don't know. Just a guess. Not really sure. Okay, there we go. Now I got to go back through my pets. I haven't done that yet. Okay, so that is most likely tier 5. And that's tier 4. Oops. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's tier 3. 73 is tier 3. Yep, and that's tier 2, which is 78. And 81 is tier 1. Ta-da! Okay, now I can take you there, copy, drop pet number 1 down here. I'm going to zoom in on these a bit so I can see where they line up a little better. Right there. About like that. There we go. There's our pets. I may be able to shorten up this. It might not need to be this big. Castle armor looking one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. Welcome, Dersey, by the way. I need to make that box a little smaller. It doesn't need to be that big either. There we go. Good enough. Alright, now let's do our bosses, which are here at the bottom. Try to put these pretty much dead center underneath this guy with a little bit of room for my text above. Okay. Like about like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, now we're going to go back to my elements. Where did my folder go? Sorry. Computer's being a doof. There we go. Okay, we got water. So water first. Okay. And then we have air, which is the right-hand one. And fire, the left. There we go. That box is too big too, but whatever. Not really that concerned. I'm going to try to shorten it up just a little bit, but it's a little bigger than I meant to make it, but it's okay. Okay, now, cape time. Wrong window. There we go. Cape is going to go right about here. Move that up just a little bit more. I want to try to shorten up this thing if I can. I'm gonna have to make this much smaller because it's way too big at this point. Let's make it 250. See how big that is. Oh, nope, don't do that. Resize. That might work. See how that does. That actually works pretty well. Actually, let me make it just a little bit smaller. There we go. That's more along the lines of what I wanted. Cool. Okay. Let me save that again. And now I'm going to make an entirely new layer in the back. And we're going to see how this looks. Looking good so far. Cool, cool. All right. So we're just about done. I've just got to put in my text and kind of finish everything up here. Yeah, this originally was a fire dragon, if I remember right. You can definitely tell by the head right here. It's definitely based on the same design. Just like the spirit one we had just recently was based on a fire one as well. This is very unlikely before anyone asks to have shatter. It's almost a guarantee it won't. Actually, let me move this. This is going to bug me. It's visually off. I'm going to move this more centered. There we go. But yeah, it's very unlikely that any pets are going to have shatter for the immediate future until they put the cap in place, and even then, who knows? They're also trying to work on adding some more pet abilities, which may be more viable options when talking about shatter versus other abilities. So that's coming. I just don't know when. Okay, let's do this. May 2020. I hate when it does this. Jumps around on me. Sorry, I'm brain cramp. Fingers are going faster than my brain. Kind of in the bottom there. I may have to resize this. I'm not sure if I can resize it much because it's already kind of the size it is. But new armor abilities, no. Not that I'm aware of. That may again come in the future. I don't know. I'm not sure about the more in-depth plans that Deca has for the game, but as of right now, everything's kind of just the same old for the most part, with the occasional event to kind of switch things up off and on. So let's put something here. This is going to be season 46. I may have to rearrange this a little bit to kind of, because I don't like this blank space here at the bottom because there's really no need for it. Because on the last one that I did, I made it this long because I had other pets to put at the bottom, and I don't need to make this one that big. So this is the one right here I was using as my reference, but it has all these additional pets at the bottom, which this one doesn't. So it's kind of the same from basically here up, but it's not, doesn't need to be that long. I may have to think about redoing this section over here to kind of fit information in better, but that'll have to wait. I just want to get this done for right now. So, all right, so that's that. Let me get my change my text over here to that one, and we're going to change it to, so this one is, I need to change my text size down just a little bit. So this is first row, first armor. Actually, that's the wrong text color. I wanted, is that the right one? No, I guess it is the right one. Never mind. And that one is second row, fourth armor. Trying to line these up. There we go. Okay, and that is that. So I may change it a little bit before I send it out to everybody, but that's it for now. We are at the, let me take a look here. Hour and 46 minutes, hour and 45 minutes since we started, which is about the norm. It's usually an hour and 45 to 2:15, something like that. So pretty much the norm. So that's it. We should be in good shape. I'll go ahead and save this. I don't know that I'll modify it too much. I may just move the cape here. I may move these over just slightly up closer to that material, or this one to the left or something to fit this in at the bottom. I may make that smaller too. But that's it for now. So I'll go ahead and save this and get this out to everyone as per the norm. Put it up on KnD Bot as well with my predictions. But one final time before we end the stream. Water Fire Raid, Water Fire War, Water Spirit War, Water Spirit Seasonal, Water Seasonal Exclusive, Water Earth Seasonal, Water Fire Fusion, Water Spirit. Actually, let me look at my calendar. Before I move on, because in May we do in fact have 5 weekends. So we have the 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. So if that follows the usual sort of thing, that may end up actually being 5 weekends of 5 events, which makes sense why there's 10 armors. Because usually it would be seasonals. So we have the exclusive and then the 3 regular ones. Then we have Raid, War, and then Fusion. So it's usually just 9. But with this month, there's now a 10th one because there's a 5th event weekend on the 29th. So that's it, I think. So I think this Water Spirit down here, the 2 Water Spirits are most likely going to be event armors, and this Water Fire, or excuse me, War armors, and then the Water Fire will be War as well. So Water Fire and Water Air raids as expected, and then we have 2 Water Spirit and 1 Water Fire Wars. And then the rest is pretty standard. So that's it. So thanks everyone for joining in. Apologies for the issues with the audio and the video earlier on where we had the 360p issue where people had to kind of turn that down. But again, it's probably just because everyone's internet's so saturated because no one's leaving the house really anymore. So everyone stay safe. Wash your hands, which just seems to be the common thread that everyone talks about. But yeah, just stay safe. And if you do go out in public, wear a mask, not for your own protection, but for everyone else's, because the majority of people don't realize that they're carriers until it's too late. So you could actually have it and not know it and spread it to other people. So just something I like to tell people all the time. Anyway, take care. Have a good rest of your weekend and good luck in the rest of the war. Thanks.